Baby, sit down. Put the phone down. Turn the volume up. Because word on the street is that the greatest female boxer alive just walked into the most professionally engineered financial ambush in modern hip-hop history, and honey, the man holding the leash is smiling on camera and calling it love. Sources are alleging that Papoose, the same rapper who could not sell out a corner store in 2019, is running a full-blown ownership operation on Claressa Shields, and child, when I tell you the receipts are so loud they are practically screaming from her own bank statements, you are going to feel your stomach drop. Allegedly, this is not a boyfriend. Allegedly, this is a business plan. Allegedly, the flights, the purses, the hotels she keeps thanking him for, she paid for every single one of them, and she does not know it yet. Y'all, this one is not a rumor. This one is a heist in slow motion, and the getaway driver is holding her hand in public. Welcome back to the channel, baby. Grab your tea, grab your cup, grab your composure, because we are about to go through this thing forensically. And listen, I need you to do me one small favor before we get into it. Tap that like button, hit subscribe, share this with the group chat that has been sleeping on this story, because what you are about to hear about Papoose and Claressa Shields is not a scandal. It is a manual. It is a playbook. It has been run before on another woman, and honey, she already told us how the movie ends. So let's spill it. First, let's remember who we are actually talking about, because the internet loves to reduce champions to punchlines. Claressa Shields is not a reality TV import. Claressa Shields is not a clout chaser. Claressa Shields is a two-time Olympic gold medalist. Claressa Shields is the only boxer, man or woman, to hold undisputed titles in 4 separate weight classes, with belts across 5 divisions. They made an entire feature film about Claressa Shields called The Fire Inside, and it was not fiction. It was a receipt. When Hollywood commissions your biopic before you turn 30, baby, you are not a personality. You are a legacy. And that is exactly why what is allegedly happening to Claressa Shields stings the entire culture. Because when a random gets played, honey, nobody blinks. It's Wednesday. It's brunch. It's whatever. But when the greatest of all time gets played out in the open, smiling for the cameras, thanking her handler on Instagram, calling it destiny, calling it black love, that is not heartbreak. That is a heist. And the heist got permission to move in. Now let me back up, because you have got to see the geometry of this thing to feel the weight of it. For years, Papoose was one of those names hip-hop kept around out of respect, not out of demand. Papoose had bars, sure. Papoose had a wife on Love and Hip Hop that carried the storyline. Papoose had loyalty points from the streets. But Papoose was not packing arenas. Papoose was not headlining anything. Papoose could not, on his own weight, sell you a sold-out show in a mid-market city on a Saturday night. And then, allegedly, overnight, Papoose is everywhere. Papoose is at press conferences. Papoose is on the red carpet. Papoose is being introduced as a creative director. Papoose is being introduced as an executive. Papoose is being introduced as a promoter. Papoose is being introduced as a manager. Papoose is being introduced as a strategic partner. Child, that is 4 job titles for a man who 3 years ago was tweeting about the culture. And every single one of those titles has one thing in common. Every single one of those titles has Claressa Shields' name attached to the paycheck. Watch this. Papoose signs on with Salida Promotions. Papoose gets elevated at Win Records. Win Records signs Claressa Shields to an $8 million multi-fight deal. Big press conference. Big smiles. Champagne. Suits. Camera flashes. They call it historic. They call it a first of its kind. They call it a landmark for women in boxing. And baby, on paper, it is beautiful. On paper, it looks like a woman finally getting the bag her talent has earned her for a decade. But honey, we do not read the headlines on this channel. We read the fine print. And the fine print is where the roaches live. Because Win Records, listen to me carefully, Win Records is not a boxing company. Win Records is a music label. And the flagship artist of that music label, the man who has been sitting in that executive chair, the man whose face is on the roster, is Papoose. Papoose is the label's core artist. Papoose is the label's creative director. And Claressa Shields, an undisputed multi-weight world champion, is the first athlete they have ever signed. The first. Not one of several. Not part of a stable. The first. Do you feel that yet? The entire boxing division of Win Records is one woman. The entire athlete roster of Win Records is one woman. The entire justification for that $8 million bag is one woman. Claressa Shields is not a client of Win Records, baby. Claressa Shields is the business model of Win Records. Claressa Shields is the whole company walking around in boxing gloves. Now let me show you where the money actually goes, because this is the part that made me put my cup down. Claressa Shields earns $1. Right? Beautiful. She just broke someone's ribs for that $1. She just took a jab to the eye socket for that $1. Now, before that $1 hits her account, watch. Management takes a cut. 10 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents, gone. That's before she even gets home from the arena. Then the promotional side takes a cut. Broadcasting, logistics, marketing, ticketing. Another 20 cents, gone. Now she's sitting at 60 on the dollar. Then, allegedly, Papoose collects a commission because he was involved in bringing her in and structuring the deal. Another slice, gone. Now she's at 40. And then, honey, because Papoose is inside the record label too, he allegedly earns off of anything Claressa Shields does that touches Win Records' ecosystem. Merch. Music placements. Documentary rights. Content partnerships. Another slice, and now the woman who took the punches is walking home with pennies while everyone else at the table is eating steak. This is not a boxing deal, baby. This is a 360 deal wearing a boxing costume. This is the exact structure rappers spent 3 decades crying about on wax. Do all the work. Bleed for the label. Give up your name. Give up your image. Give up your health. And still end up looking at your own bank account like a stranger. Every middleman ate. The manager ate. The promoter ate. Papoose ate. Papoose ate again. And the champion, the one whose face is on the poster, the one whose jaw took the shot, is sitting there rationing. And she still doesn't know it yet. Now let me hit you with the part that made me have to sit down and pray on it, because this is where it goes from suspicious to sinister. Word on the street is that Papoose has not paid federal taxes in over a decade. And I am not talking about a missed quarter. I am not talking about a bookkeeping oversight. I am talking about, allegedly, 13 consecutive years. 13. That is not an accident. That is not a slow month. That is a lifestyle. That is a philosophy. Papoose allegedly owes the IRS somewhere north of $300,000, and the internet has been walking around calling him a taxpayer. Honey, he is not a taxpayer. He is a taxor. He owes the tax. He does not pay the tax. And so the question, the only question that matters, becomes this. Where did the money suddenly come from to change his lifestyle? Where did the money come from for the arenas, the presents, the polish, the executive chair, the flights, the suits, the sudden shine? Papoose was, by every public measure, financially underwater. And then Claressa Shields walked into the frame. And suddenly, allegedly, the underwater man is dry, clean, and floating. You do not need a forensic accountant to draw that line. You need a straight edge and a decent memory. And baby, I need you to sit with this next part, because this is the part that turns theory into pattern. Papoose is still legally married. Read that again. Papoose is still legally married to Remy Ma. The divorce that the entire internet celebrated, the split that got treated like breaking news, the paperwork that was supposedly filed and finalized. Allegedly, it was never actually finalized. Allegedly, it was pulled. Allegedly, it is sitting in a drawer somewhere gathering dust. And here is the receipt that changes everything. Remy Ma, according to public IRS filings that have been circulating, allegedly owes the federal government north of $600,000 in back taxes. So you add up Papoose's alleged $300,000 debt, you add up Remy's alleged $600,000 debt, and you are staring at nearly $1 million in combined tax liability sitting on top of two people who are still technically each other's next of kin. So ask yourself, baby. Ask yourself honestly. Why does a man who is publicly acting single, publicly acting like he is in a new committed relationship, publicly walking a champion boxer around town like a fiancé. Why does that man keep his estranged wife's name attached to his legal paperwork? Why does that man refuse to sign the final page? Honey, that is not procrastination. That is a business decision. Because as long as those two are legally still married, any income Papoose generates, allegedly including anything he pulls from the Claressa Shields ecosystem, is legally, spiritually, and financially entangled with Remy's obligations too. In other words, allegedly, Claressa's bag does not just clear Papoose's debt. Allegedly, Claressa's bag helps clear Remy's debt too. And they get to do all of this while performing a public breakup on Instagram. Heads they win. Tails they win. Coin lands on its edge, they still win. And Claressa Shields, the champion, is footing the whole tournament. Now, listen. Stella is going to keep it 100 with you. This is a theory. This is what people close to the situation are alleging. This is not a court ruling. This is not a confession. Everybody involved has denied everything. But baby, I am going to say what the room is thinking. The dots line up too clean. The timing is too neat. The math is too consistent. The pattern is too recognizable. When you have seen this exact movie before, you do not need someone to spoil the ending for you. You just need to notice the poster. And speaking of the exact movie, let's talk about Remy Ma, because this is where the story gets uncomfortable and, honestly, this is where it stops being funny. Remy Ma has already told this story on record. Remy Ma has already sat in front of cameras and explained, in her own voice, how she went to prison, how during that time everything she had built financially got quietly restructured into somebody else's name, how she came home to a life that no longer had her name on the deed. Remy Ma has already told the world, in her own words, that she trusted a man to hold it down while she was locked away, and when she got out, the man was holding the bag she used to own. That is not gossip. That is testimony. That is Remy Ma speaking on Remy Ma's life. And allegedly, honey, the exact same architecture is being redeployed on Claressa Shields today. New name. New sport. New arena. Same playbook. Same director. Same silent takeover happening, one signature at a time, one deal at a time, one commission at a time, one press conference at a time. And here is the part that will keep you up at night, baby. Remy Ma survived it. Remy Ma is here to tell the tale. Which means Remy Ma is, in effect, the woman standing at the mouth of the cave with a lantern, warning the next hiker not to go in. And Claressa Shields, allegedly, is walking right past her, waving, smiling, thanking Papoose in an acceptance speech. I want to slow down for 1 second because this part deserves it. Underneath all the receipts, all the numbers, all the alleged deal structures, there is a real human being. There is a woman who trained since childhood. There is a woman who broke bones for medals. There is a woman who put Flint, Michigan on the map. There is a woman who fought when the money was not there, when the crowds were not there, when the sponsors were not there, when the industry did not care that a female boxer was rewriting the record book with her bare hands. That woman is Claressa Shields. That woman deserves love. That woman deserves partnership. That woman deserves peace. And baby, if the theory the streets are alleging is accurate, that woman is getting robbed by the very people telling her they built her. That is not tea. That is a warning. And Remy Ma already rang the alarm bell. Let me hit you with a re-hook, honey, because you need to hear this next receipt loud and clear. Watch how the timeline stacks up. Papoose gets folded into Win Records. Papoose gets folded into Salita's promotional structure. Win Records signs Claressa Shields. Claressa Shields' fight starts selling out arenas she historically never sold out solo. Papoose starts appearing in interviews describing himself as the architect of her arena success, the reason she can fill 16,000 seats, the reason the deal even exists. Baby, 16,000 people did not buy tickets to see Papoose. 16,000 people bought tickets to see a champion fight, and they got Papoose thrown in as a bonus feature they did not ask for. He is not the sky. He is the umbrella. And he is charging her for shade she was already casting. And here is the click confirmation moment, because I promised you at the top of this video that everything Claressa Shields thinks he is buying her, she is actually buying herself. Let me deliver that receipt. Every flight, allegedly, is coming out of a bag that Claressa Shields' name generates. Every hotel, allegedly, is being expensed against income that Claressa Shields' punches earned. Every gift, allegedly, is being routed through a company structure where Claressa Shields is the flagship revenue driver. That is not a boyfriend spoiling his girl. That is a woman spoiling herself with an intermediary in the middle taking a handling fee for the pleasure. So when Claressa Shields sits on a couch and tells the world, on camera, that she has not paid for a flight or a hotel or a purse in months, that she is being taken care of, that she has never been treated like this by any man, honey, she is technically correct. She has not been paying for it. Her earnings have. And her earnings and her are not the same thing when a whole executive structure is standing between the two. Now let me answer the question I know some of you are typing in the comments right now. You are saying, Stella, why does she not see it? Why is a smart, disciplined, world champion athlete missing something this obvious? Baby, that is the wrong question. The right question is, why would she? Claressa Shields has spent her entire adult life being told by the boxing industry that she does not deserve equal pay, that women's boxing does not draw, that she is a hard sell, that her personality is too much, that her ambition is too loud, that her mouth writes checks her career cannot cash. And then a man walks into her life and tells her the opposite. A man tells her she is a queen. A man tells her she is worth 8 million. A man tells her she is going to sell out arenas. A man tells her she is going to headline. A man tells her she is going to be respected. A man tells her she is going to be paid. And most importantly, a man delivers on it, allegedly using her own money. When you have been starved that long, honey, the person handing you the plate feels like a savior even if they cooked the food in your own kitchen using your own ingredients while you were in the shower. That is not weakness. That is human. That is what makes this alleged operation so devastating. It is not just financial. It is emotional infrastructure. It is a woman being sold a version of love that is really a P&L statement in a nice suit. So let's recap the tea, baby, because we have covered a lot of ground and I need you to walk away with this map burned into your memory. 1. We have a legend of the sport that the culture keeps forgetting to protect. 2. We have a rapper who could not fill a coffee shop suddenly filling arenas because he is standing next to a champion. 3. We have an $8 million deal that is structured on top of a record label that has one athlete, and the label's flagship artist happens to be dating that athlete. 4. We have a champion's earnings running through a gauntlet of commissions until pennies come out the other side. 5. We have a man who allegedly has not paid federal taxes in 13 years suddenly looking financially healthy the moment a boxing bag lands in the frame. 6. We have a divorce that was never finalized, keeping an ex-wife's $600,000 tax liability legally braided into the same paperwork. 7. We have the ex-wife herself, on record, describing the exact same playbook happening to her a decade ago. And 8. We have a champion sitting in interviews right now, on major platforms, telling the world she has never been happier while allegedly signing checks she does not know she is signing. That is not a coincidence, baby. That is a syllabus. And here is why I need you to share this video before you close the app, honey. This is not old news. This is not archive footage. This is not a retrospective. That $8 million deal was signed in November. The ink is still wet. The arenas are still being booked. The commissions are still being paid. The bag is being drained in real time, right now, as you are watching this. Every day this goes unspoken is another deposit into someone else's rebuild fund. And champions do not get infinite windows. Boxers do not get infinite paydays. There is a countdown clock on every athlete's peak earnings, and Claressa Shields is standing on top of hers right now while, allegedly, a whole scaffolding of middlemen quietly siphon the returns. So T with Stella wants to know, baby. Are you team this is a full-blown alleged scheme dressed up as black love? Or are you team let the woman love whoever she wants to love and mind your business? Drop it in the comments below. Argue with the person under your comment. Tell me if you think Remy Ma is warning her sisters or celebrating a rival's downfall. Tell me if you think Claressa Shields sees it and is playing chess back. Tell me if you think this is a two-person operation with one target, or if the internet is drawing lines between dots that are not actually connected. I want the receipts. I want the counter-theories. I want the ride-or-die defenders and the concerned antis in the same comment section. Because the saddest part of this whole story, honey, and I mean the saddest part, is that the greatest boxer of her generation might never see the one punch coming, and it is not going to come from another fighter. It is going to come from the corner she trusted the most. It is going to come from the towel guy. It is going to come from the water bottle. It is going to come from the voice in her ear that said, "Relax, baby, I got you. Baby, this tea is way too hot to drink alone." Smash that like button. Tap subscribe if you have not already. Turn on the notification bell so you do not miss the follow-up, because trust me, honey, there is a follow-up. There is always a follow-up when the paperwork is this messy. Share this with the woman in your life who needs to hear it. Share this with the boxing fan who has been sleeping on the business side of the sport. Share this with the person in your DMs who told you love is enough. Because sometimes, baby, love is not enough. Sometimes love is a business plan wearing a wedding ring. And sometimes the champion is the last one in the arena to hear the bell. I'm Stella. The tea is always hot here. And this cup, honey, is nowhere near empty. I'll see you in the next one.